Back at it again. It's the guy Spencer. You know what time it is. It's time for the first episode of the 2026 Top 10 Most Intriguing Games of the Week, presented by Spencer Co. It's your boy Spencer, obviously, here. And man, we've been doing this, I think, for about 3 or 4, maybe this might be the fourth or fifth season of this Most Intriguing Games of the Week. Last year, in the last couple seasons, I've been taking off the regular season. Mainly because of work and just trying to be busy and trying to be enriched and locked in on what I had going on. But I'm not coaching anymore, so let's get into it. We can go all year long. This is the first episode, and typically how we start this thing off is a recap of last week, the best games that we covered from the week before. We have a team of the week. We'll break that team of the week down, what they did last week, why they made team of the week, some of the highlights from their games. And then we would get into the top 10 players of the week. Guys that performed incredible, had great stat lines, helped the team get wins. Maybe you see a guy that lost. Maybe losers maybe get a shout out on this, but usually the top 10 players that help their teams win are the players that I choose. And then we'll go in and get to their highlights and break them down and just what they did the week before. And then after that, we break down our top 10 games of the week. Are most intriguing. Not necessarily the best games, and usually the best games are the most intriguing. But if there's a storyline or if there's a team that we're super interested in, it'll make the list. And then what game would I go to? You know what I mean? That's basically what I consider the most intriguing. Which one do I really want to go sit in the stands for this week? So, obviously Thursday night, the game starts tonight with Gladewater and I believe Dangerfield. They got the first game of the year. So we try to get this thing uploaded, obviously, by Thursday morning. And that's what we do. So that's usually the script. But since it's the first week, and I'm not walking around, I'm not watching a bunch of scrimmage tape, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not doing it. So instead of having the top 10 players from the scrimmage, I'm going to predict who I think are the top 25 players for 2026. This is where I think will be the top 25 based off all season long, and it's just a prediction, but we want to predict right now who we think are the top 25 players that are going to play well in East Texas in 2026. So with no further ado, let's get into it. You guys are here for the show. Let's get it started. At number 25, we got a senior quarterback from Lindale. It is David Lendig. I think he's going to have a huge year this year. I think a lot about these Lindale Eagles. We'll say more about them when we get to the next Eagle that's going to appear on this list. But David Lendig, I'm expecting to have a huge senior season. Lead his team I think they're going to win district. Let's just go ahead and get into it. At number 24, senior cornerback from Lufkin, Texas is Sam Smith. I think he's going to have an incredible year. I think he had 4 interceptions last year. Over 50 tackles, a very good cover corner, extremely fast, physical. He's a real baller, and I think he's going to have a huge senior year. 23, Reed Carnathan, the senior tight end from Lindale. I think he's bound to have the biggest year he's had in his whole career. Very good football player, good size down there. And like I said, I think Lindale has the most coming back, and if they're ever going to win that district this year, I think they're going to do it this year, especially with Kilgore being and Chapel Hill both being not necessarily down, but we don't really know what to make of them right now. At 22, Luke Basinger, the junior defensive end out of Liberty ILO. At number 21, the senior quarterback / safety out of Commerce, Texas, I believe is Aiden Brown is going to have a huge year this year. At number 20, I think Kedra Smith, the junior defensive end from Pleasant Grove, is going to have a huge year. 19, Raleigh Hinch out of Van. Big quarterback, played in 9 games last year. I think he's going to have a big senior year. This is going to be 3 quarterbacks in a row right here. Number 2 is Colt Yancey out of Pleasant Grove. I think this is the year Pleasant Grove is going to get to that state title game and obviously get past Carthage in order to do it. I think Yancey and the Pleasant Grove Hawks are going to have to do it this year, and I think Yancey's going to have a huge senior year. At number 17, Trey Hamilton out of Longview. I'm expecting more numbers. I'm really expecting Longview, and I'll talk more about it later on in the show, but I'm really expecting Longview offensively to be as good as they've ever been, and I think they have an opportunity offensively to be as good as they were in 2018. We'll talk later. At number 16, big defensive lineman, big defensive tackle, DN / fullback out of Mount Pleasant, Nehemiah Savage. I think he's an absolute beast. I got him at 16, but this guy could easily be in the top 10 players of East Texas, even top 5. At number 15, Jeremy Bluford from St. Augustine, the transfer from center. He's been in the top 100 the last 2 years as a sophomore and a junior, so it would not surprise me to see him this high on the list as a senior in 2026. 14, junior receiver, cornerback, Cam Brown out of West Rusk. Extremely talented, tall, 6'3", has the height, has the explosion, and he's playing at the right level to make the right kind of plays to put himself in the top 15 and the top 100. Number 13, Brett Wells, a guy that's been doing it since his freshman year. Made the top 100 last year as a junior for the first time. Just barely missed the cut as a sophomore. I think Troop's gonna. We'll talk more about Troop here in a little bit, but I think Troop is going to be extremely special this year. And Brett Wells is probably, the most valuable as a guy that's going to play running back and linebacker out there for Troop. And number 12, Ray Sean Williams of Kilgore. The Bulldog is really pretty much one of the two lone guys coming back that really contributed. Him and Jonigan on the offensive side of the ball, really the only two guys that really got in the mix last year. Williams had an incredible junior year. He's going to have a hit big senior year, and I think he's talented enough to lead Kilgore. And if Kilgore does what they've been doing, it's going to be because of Ray Sean. At number 11, Trey Harlison, the wide receiver out of Tyler High. Now, so much about a wide receiver, you got to depend on the quarterback, and I really don't know what the quarterback situation is out in Tyler. They're replacing a 3-year starter in Granbury. But Trey Harlison is as talented as any receiver we've had in the last 4 or 5 years. Probably a notch under Jalen Hale as far as athleticism, but really in that same type of can play. He's committed to SMU. They're at the same place, you know what I mean? So, he's got that type of ability. Will we see it maximized all year long? That's the real question. At number 10, Rain Wallace. Rain Wallace has been killing the game since his sophomore year. Made the top 100 the last 2 years. I think he's a top 10 player. Now, the question is what is he going to play? Is he going to play quarterback? Is he going to play receiver? Is he going to play a mix of both? He's a real athlete. Also has played some safety during his time at Dangerfield. The opportunities for him to create and make real highlights are plenty. And it's going to really kind of depend on how far he can take Dangerfield and how dominant he can truly be in his senior year to make it inside the top 10. At number 9, from Tyler High, I got the running back, Kadarius McMillan. I really think McMillan's going to have a big senior year. When you get that type of hype and recruitment, and it's not just hype, but the dude is extremely fast. He's a 6'1", 195-pound runner that is a burner, and that's really anything. You know what I'm saying? He kind of reminded me of Miami running back last year during the playoffs. Big, tall guy that can really tote it. Will he get a chance to carry the load this year? Will he lead the offense? I think if Tyler High can win 7 to 8 games, especially based off of their offense alone with Harrelson and McMillan. And if they can get into the 3rd, 4th round, Kadarius is going to be a huge reason why. At number 8, Nacogdoches defensive tackle, Caden Bruton. Caden Bruton was a man as a sophomore. He's a junior. I'm expecting an explosion again. I'm expecting him not to be able to be blocked again. The biggest thing with a guy that big is how much weight is he going to put on over the next 2 years. Is he going to lose that explosion? Is he going to lose that pop? Hopefully not. Hopefully he stays explosive. And if he stays explosive, Caden Bruton, to me, as good as he had as a sophomore year in that 5A level, he's got a chance to put himself in the category with names like Dalen Mack or some of the best defensive tackles to ever play in East Texas. At number 7, Cooper Bragg, a two-way guy down there from Joaquin. It was the main reason why they made it to the state title game last year. Over 2,000 yards rushing, over 90-something tackles as well, about 4 interceptions on defense. Joaquin is a slug him out, drag him out, run football team, and Joaquin is a big reason why with over 2,000 yards last year. And I do think that he's going to have a huge year this year. And if he has a year like he had last year, I expect him to be in the top 10 out of 100. And number 6, one of the bigger jumps from about 25 last year to number 6, Jaden Herndon, the junior receiver out of Longview. Caught a lot of passes last year, about 40 balls for about maybe over 1,200 yards almost. I know he went over a rack, which is in Longview doesn't happen for junior receivers like that. So for him, a sophomore at that. I know he's the first sophomore to go over a rack in the school history. Physically, he looks good, man. Physically, just getting a chance to see him in the hallways, man. Jaden is really kind of similar to Jalen Hill as far as just athletically different from everybody else. And looks really strong for his weight. Looks like he's about 185 to 90 pounds, but he just looks kind of like skinny strong. He's not really big, but you can tell there's muscle there. You can tell he's strong, man. He's a guy that's gonna be tough to bring down, and a guy that I really expect Longview to try to exploit defenses with. And Longview's gonna be balanced, man. Offensively, this is like I said, man. This is gonna be as great as an offense we've had seen in a very long time. Is my prediction. And number 5, Quay Ford out of Texas High, the big offensive tackle that is committed to SMU. Been on this list as a freshman. Didn't make it last year because he didn't put out a highlight tape. But Quay Ford is just an absolute animal. When he gets his hands on you, huge person, 6'7", 300 plus, 6'6", 6'5", whatever he is. He's huge, right? And really does a great job on the blind side, and he's going to be needed because I'm telling you, oh no, Texas High, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. And number 4 from Troop now, Trevor Golightly, the quarterback who I think is the best quarterback coming into this season. I got him here at number 4. I think he's going to play extremely well. He's in a new system, and I think he's going to start a little bit slower because he's not playing with the same dudes that he's used to been playing with. But Troop has athletes. They have a receiver and James Pierce to go get it. They've got Brett Wells, a running back, to go and handle business. And then Trevor is a great athlete. He's got his brother who, and no disrespect to his family, I didn't know he had a brother. Like, I only look at the people that make all district. I'm not really, like, deep into what's going on with everybody. There's so many schools for that. But shout out to his brother Dash, who is also an eligible player. You know that connection's probably got to kick in somewhere, somehow, right? Whether him being a receiver or a DB. I expect Dash Golightly to be a good player as well. But I'm expecting Trevor to go off. I think he's been the best quarterback over the last 2 years. Definitely over the last 2 years. He has never been placed outside of like 15. He's a really, really, really good football player. I think he's going to be inside the top 5 at number 4 this year. And number 3, Kavian Bryant. Kavian Bryant, the Palestine Westwood quarterback. I think this is a year where he just looks the absolute apart. He's shown flashes, and his highlight tape, the level of competition, it just doesn't look like the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not gonna. He looks good. The competition that he plays against and how easy he makes it look, it's kind of hard to really justify, or not justify, but just really say how good is he truly. This year, I believe with as many weapons as he has coming back, he's got like 2 or 3 receivers that could threaten being on the top 100 because they're excellent football players. With that, of course, his brother being one of them, I expect an offensive explosion again out of Westwood, and I think it won't take long. I'm really interested, and we'll talk more about that here in the top 10 games of the week. And number 2 is Mael Kamara. That dude is the truth. The game tape on him is why I didn't have anything on him last year. There wasn't a lot of game tape. It was a lot of just like 1 or 2 like little highlight tapes against like teams where he's baptizing people, and then there's another room where he's running the ball. This year, I'm excited to be able to go watch Gilmer in person and go watch this guy in person and just see truly how dominant he is. Size-wise, he is an NFL player already. Athletically, he's an NFL offensive lineman already. I'm kind of interested in seeing what Gilmer does. How cute will they get with him? Will he do some Trent Williams motion stuff that come out of the backfield and try to just pulverize people? Will they put an eligible number and actually try to throw him the ball and see what he could do down the field? I have no idea. He's one of the bigger enigmas for me personally because I haven't got a chance to go watch him. But, this year, just teaching only, we might get a chance to get out there and see what those Buckeyes are talking about and Kamara. And then at number 1, the number 1 player that I think will be number 1 going into this season is Jace Harris out of Carthage. The reason why is Coach Surratt. Obviously, we can't doubt Coach Surratt. We just got to figure that they're going to be somewhere in the mix come November, December. And Jace Harris, to me, for one, he was the first target that he talked about and trying to get the ball to, and that's important. And when coaches are talking to these media guys, they're going to tell you who they're going to try to get the ball at and who they're excited about. And it's going to be one of the first 2 names to come out of the map. It was Jace Harris, and then it was J.D. Edwards. And so I think these guys are going to be the focal point of what they're trying to do offensively. I don't know who they got playing quarterback. Obviously, he's going to be a gunslinger. But at this point, we just got to know and trust and prove in the Carthage way that they are raising up quarterbacks to ready to take over the next one. And each one is trying to be better than the one before. And the one before might be one of the best of all time in Jess Surratt. So I think this kid, whoever he is, he's got big shoes to fill. But, just being a traditional Carthage Bulldog, or even if he's not, even if he moved into the tradition, he wants to be as good as Jet. And I think they will find a way to be great offensively. Don't know who's running the rock for them. They're going to find one. You don't have to worry about it. If it's Coach Surratt, he's going to have an elite running back. But like I said, Jason Harris, I think, is going to be the guy that's going to make the most plays at receiver, at running back, at defensive back. He's going to have the most opportunities, I think, out of everyone in these Texas to collect the best highlights and truly be the number one player in East Texas. So he's just a junior, and it's a a lot of pressure that we're throwing out there on him. But I really think that this dude is going to be the guy for for Carthage this year. And if they're going to go back to state, which I mean, why not? Right? They ought to be predicted to win it anyway. Every year Surratt's there. He's going to have to be the biggest reason why. All right, so let's get into our top 10 most intriguing games of the week. Here we go. At number 10, we've got LE at Pittsburgh. LE at Pittsburgh is a huge game to me. It's one of the more intriguing games, player-wise, because of who's playing on the field. For LE, you got Luke Basinger, and Luke Basinger, who I think is one of the best players, athletes in East Texas, got D1 offers all over the place. He's a really good football player. I wonder how much he's going to be used offensively. Can they find a way for him to be in the mix over there, maybe as a fullback or a tight end, H-back type guy? I also have one of the better running backs in East Texas coming back in Arian Taylor. Arian Taylor is an absolute dog. He can tote the ball. He can go from anywhere. He graded out as 91 last year, so he missed a cut for the top 100, but he is an absolute dude. And who are they playing? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh on the other side. Don't know what they've got replacing their quarterback. He was a really good quarterback for them last year, but I know they have Seven Duffy coming back. We're talking about a Pittsburgh team that put up 35 points and had Carthage a little bit shook there in the first half last year. So offensively, they have momentum from the year before. Do they have the talent to get Seven Duffy the ball, right? And then do they have the talent to get Dottie the ball? And are they going to, what are they going to do? So Ellie, big flashy players, Pittsburgh, offensive weapons out of the guru. Let's see what them boys are talking about Thursday or Friday night. At number 9, we've got Tyler High at Marshall. And this is, for me, it's intriguing because I'm anxious to see how Tyler High and those two superstars they have out there in Kadarius McMillan at number 9 preseason player, who I think, and then number 11 preseason player, Trey Halls, and what I think they're going to do. I'm just anxious to see what these Tyler High lines look like. It's one of the more intriguing places. I've always said that Tyler was just like Tyler High was a lone view without John King. They've always got players, but they always don't have direction. And sometimes they're undertalented, and sometimes that direction can't help them to squeeze all the orange out of the juice. Well, this time they've got plenty of juice in that orange with Kadarius McMillan and Trey Harrelson. What are they going to look like? Even with the unproven quarterback, how is McMillan going to put his imprint on a game? How are you going to showcase Trey Harrelson out wide? And then when you have that kind of talent out there, who else is going to eat? I'm really super intrigued on Tyler High. Marshall's Marshall. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be physical. That's who they are now. I'm kind of intrigued in seeing how they replace Alton Henderson, who was an incredible quarterback for them in 2024 and 25. A great leader and a very locomotive. He was a great conductor of that offense that they run out there. I'm anxious to see what they do to replace him and what they'll do in Marshall in 2026. At number 8, we got the OGU traditional East Texas matchup. It's Dangerfield at Gladewater. And I don't know if they're at Gladewater. They might be at Dangerfield this year. I think they were at Gladewater last year. I have no idea. But Gladewater gave him that belt last year, shut down Dangerfield. Will Dangerfield be ready? We kind of saw slow starts in the last 2 seasons out of Dangerfield, and then by the time they hit district, they catch their stride. Is it because they're playing tough opponents? Is it because they're not ready? Who knows? I don't know. But I know they have ain't no probably about it. They have the best player on the field in Rain Wallace. Where will he line up at? Will it be at quarterback? Will it be at receiver? Will it be at running back? How will they get him the ball? Gladewater coming off one of the best seasons they've had in recent history. We're 8-2, I think, out of the regular season, or 9-1, one of the two. We're just absolutely dominant. They've got great players coming back, and Achilles Hess, the quarterback. They're replacing Carson Cooper at running back, but offensively and defensively, they got Destin Sheridan, who's been He has some highlights in the last scrimmage. He's also a guy that I ranked pretty high last year. I gave him a 90 rating at the safety. He's a guy that's not afraid to come hit. And Glaywater gave it to Dangerfield. They were ready to go last year, and with Coach Lewis, and he did a phenomenal job, and outdid everybody's expectations for year one. I think he's just going to double down on year two. I like Glaywater in this matchup, and this is one of the first games I'll predict. I do like Glaywater in this matchup, and I would be surprised if it's by more than 2 touchdowns, just off the momentum of what they did in 2025 and what I think they're trying to build with what they got coming back in 26. At number 7, we've got Gilmer at Pine Tree. And this is intriguing because Gilmer has a couple of pieces. Obviously, Ismail Kamara, just an absolute dude, absolute freak up front. And then, of course, you've got the running back, Travion Horn, second team out district last year as a sophomore, about 900 yards, 11 touchdowns. Looks the part. He's been training with him. Longview's great. Mark Johnson, if you know that name, you know Mark was a fullback at like 5'7", 165, 170 pounds. Went on to Southern Arkansas, was one of the greatest running backs in their history. Took over I think he's the all-time leading rusher at Southern Arkansas. So Mark is an incredible football player. Yeah, so anticipating great things out of Travion Horn, who I believe is the next big thing out of Gilmer, honestly. And then they're going against Pine Tree, and Pine Tree, a 418, best, most playoff success they've had in school history last year. And they are coming back, and they are still loaded. They've got Colton Croft at quarterback. They've got a pair of sophomores at running back that looked apart. Receiver wise, they got Boston Johnson coming back and a couple other guys defensively that were physical and fast last year. I'm really anxious to see what they can build at Pine Tree. Will they be able to stack another? I'm kind of favoring Pine Tree in this matchup. I like them coming out of this matchup, but it would not surprise me if the Buckeyes and old Coach Messel figure out a way in this offseason to get a lot better and probably put it on Pine Tree. I'm rolling with Pine Tree in this one, but I expect a close game. But I expect Pine Tree to win by 2 scores, pulling away late. At number 6, we've got Lindale at Hallsville. And no, this is not like the most, like, I don't know what Hallsville's got coming back. They didn't have like the best season in the world last year. And Lindale ought to kick their teeth in. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm super intrigued by this because I want to see how good Lindale looks. I think Lindale's going to win district this year. I think they got the most coming back. I think Cochran has a great program out there. I think they're competitive year in and year out. Dave Lendick, Reed Carnathan, being the seniors on offense to be able to, really lead that group. They've got a lot of experience. A lot of those guys have been playing since their sophomore year. And when you make that investment on playing sophomores that early, you are really bound to bend the benefits of them by the time they get to their senior year if you do it correct. There's nothing they haven't seen before. They're probably the biggest, strongest, and best players on the field. And I'm really interested in seeing what the Eagles of Lindale look like in week 1. And that's why they're sitting here at the 6th game at my intrigue level. At number 5, Texas High versus Tyler Legacy. Now, this one, intriguing because Texas High, I don't know, man. They are replacing so much offensively. About 2 or 3 linemen, a running back, 2 running backs, 1 running back who's really good, and he's not going to be remembered in Texas High glory for the rest of his life, but only because he's playing with a running back that could play with slot receiver who may be the best player since Ryan Mallett at Texas High and Trey Ball, Tredarian Ball. So they are replacing a lot. They left with more questions after the Longview scrimmage than they did with questions answered. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do stacked up against a Tyler Legacy team who at the beginning of the year are always dangerous. Now, they never keep that steam rolling through the season, but Tyler Legacy is the most dangerous at the beginning of the year. They believe they have talent. They have the size. They are a true 6A school, and they're the biggest school in East Texas, and they have kids. Can they figure it out from a coaching standpoint? Can they make those kids play not only in August, but can they play all year long? Can they find a way to make wins? If Tyler Legacy is to be a respected team, they have to beat Texas High this Friday. They have to because Texas High is not I'm not predicting Texas High to play late in December like I am every year because they're so talented. This year, I don't know how far they'll be. So if they don't beat them this year, there ain't a lot of hope in legacy. At number 4, this is truly one of the better individual storylines that we got. We've got Jefferson, who are loaded. They have dudes everywhere. Starting with Lamarian Douglas. Lamarian Douglas is well, I had number 3 as a defensive back coming back in East Texas. I think he's an exceptional player. I think he is going to make an impact not only on offense, on defense, but on offense as well. He's just an outstanding football player. Defensively, Coleman Thompson, I think it's like a really, really B plus, is a really good football player. He's been playing out there since his sophomore year. Been watching tape on him for a while. He's been on the cusp of the top 100 the last 2 seasons. He's a leader. He's a senior. He's somebody that you want in the middle of your defense calling it out, especially if you've seen it for so long. Offensively, Trey Moss comes back. He'll be a senior this year, or will he? Yeah, he'll be a senior this year. I'm excited to see him what he'll bring to the table. Expected him to be better than he was last year. Last year, I gave him a B rating around 86. They've got Travis Gray Jr. coming back at receiver. He was a really good football player, right on the cusp of making the list last year. So they've got dudes to lean on. And they're playing Palestine Westwood. When Westwood is extremely talented, right? They've got the quarterback, Kamian Bryant. He's going against, and he's got receivers. He's got receivers like let's go and pull them up real quick. Westwood, Bryant. They've got Tyre Brown, who's will be I think a junior this year or a sophomore this year. Zaire Brown was really good last year. What kind of steps did he take going into this year? Caden Bryant, I gave him a 90 rating last year. He was number 17 receiver coming back. Really good football player. He's got Markel Morrow to throw the football to. He was a really good receiver last year. So Landon Russell on the D-line coming back. So they've got talent as well. I don't know if they got as many dudes as Jefferson. And honestly, I'm ready to see Kamian Bryant turn into Superman. I want to see it. And Jefferson right here has enough talent, both offensively and defensively, where he's going to have to be Superman in order to pull this game out. It'll be a tough task for him, and it'll be really a good show to see what they can do in the playoffs when they have to play some of the tougher teams in their region to make it out. So super excited about this Kamian Bryant going against Lamarian Douglas. Douglas had 8 picks last season, so yeah, this is a legitimate matchup between dude versus dude, and we'll see what happens here at Westwood Friday night. At number 3, Carthage at Henderson. Now, why is this a super intriguing game? Because I don't know what Carthage looks like. I don't know who the name of the starting quarterback is. I don't know who the name of the starting running back is. They're replacing one of the most talented classes that have come out of Carthage, maybe classes when it comes to East Texas history, especially for a 4A school. And Carthage is just like, they reload every year. They've got Coach Surratt. And when you got Scott Surratt, I believe in you, brother. So whatever you come out with, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and see what you can do. Anxious to see what Jace Harris does. Anxious to see what Bryson Price does. 2 exceptional players coming back. JDL was a little brother of KJ. Willing to see what he is and what he's going to be in this year as a junior. And then, of course, how do they replace the dudes that they've got from last year? Defensively, how do they replace Beck and Cross and Crawford? And many other names. Tylen Williams was one of the best players from Carthage in recent history. So how will they replace that? That's why it's so intriguing to me. Henderson, on the other hand, you've got Meeks, a young quarterback, as a sophomore. What does Blake look like from his freshman to sophomore year? Not only is he starting his second year, but he's got to go against the best team that you could probably see right away. And in week 1 in Carthage. So sophomore get ready to get thrown out there to the Wolves early. Mike Russell, the best player, I think, on Henderson's team coming back. He's a young running back and linebacker. What will he look like against the best? I'm ready to see what he looks like individually and what kind of tape he can put together in his sophomore season. So intrigued about this one a lot. I think Carthage is going to win, obviously, but I'm more intrigued in seeing what they look like. At number 2, this may be the best pure football game of the 10 this week. And we've got Kilgore at Pleasant Grove. Kilgore, why is it intriguing? Shit, we don't know what they got. Casey Brooks, gone. Isaiah Waters, gone. Dre Sanders, gone. Out there wide, who else? LaKalian Graves, gone. A lot of the offensive line, gone. So Kilgore's reloading. What will they look like? I don't know. I know they have Rayshawn Williams. I know they've got Tyler Johnigan. We know we got those playmakers coming back. But what else are they going to come with? And Kilgore has built up the tradition of being really good, being really physical, especially under Fuller. They've done a great job, and so I'm anxious to see their reload as well. Just kind of similar to Carthage. Pleasant Grove, though. Pleasant Grove is reloading as well. They lost a lot too. They have Colt Yancey coming back at quarterback, and they got a great strong leader in that. But they lost some members of their offensive line. They lost 1,000-yard back last year in Nick Bells. They lost a defensively. They lose a really good defensive. The secondary, Seth Gunlack was incredible last year with about 9 picks in the back end. He was a really good, solid football player. They're replacing some key figures from their 2025 team that went 3 rounds deep. So interesting to see. They do have the most coming back. They are playing at home. I do favor Pleasant Grove in this matchup, and I think this could be the start for Pleasant Grove to, if they're going to do it, and if they're going to get past Carthage, this is a great test to see what they're made of. And at number one, the headliner, the number one game, the 89th matchup between Longview and Lufkin at Lufkin this year. We've got the Lobos coming in, and let's get into it. Longview has a chance to have a set of triplets right here for you Dallas Cowboy fans for a good reference. And Trey Hamilton, the running back, Jacaden Davis, and the receiver, Jaden Herndon. I think those are the 3 most talented players on this Lobo team, especially offense. Lawson Tubb probably in that mix somewhere, a linebacker. But no, these dudes are really good offensively. The mind of Coach Sanders is very different from what we've seen out of King. He's very drop back. We've only seen 2 or 3 drop back quarterbacks that are going to leave the ball and throw it with King out of like 23 years. And that was Haynes, that was Chumley, and that was Bivens Caraway, where you got guys that are throwing the ball. This past season with Trey Hamilton looked really good. He improved a lot from what we saw from his sophomore year and those playoffs to what he produced as a junior. At quarterback, 25 touchdowns to just 1 pick, threw 1 pick in the beginning of the year, so didn't turn the ball over interception wise anymore for the rest of the year. You got a guy that's extremely confident, who knows his coach now, knows what his coach wants. His coach knows him, knows his talent, knows what he's super good at. I would expect Trey Hamilton to have one of the best quarterbacking seasons in Longview history. Honestly, the interception number, it's cool to have 0 to 1 picks. Personally, I like to see people be aggressive, take those chances when necessary. And they're never necessary, but like, man, press the envelope a little bit. But that's just my style. I would like to see Trey run the ball a little bit more. I think that would make Longview even more tough to stop offensively. He had a good rushing season last year. It was kind of a goal line threat. But just when it's not there, let's see you tuck it and go get 6 or 7 and slide or get out of bounds. Like, continue to be the extension, because Longview also defensively has big questions to answer. Now, they got after Texas High, especially up front. They were just had too much speed and quickness for that offensive line. That defensive line lived in the backfield. But I'm ready to see what that young secondary can do. They look the part. They're young and athletic and got some good height in the defensive backfield. And then, of course, they got their leader in Lawson Tubb in the middle, who looks the part, looks like he's over 195, 200 pounds. Looks like he's ready to have a huge senior year. It's good energy around Longview right now. The guys feel good about themselves. They're not afraid of Lufkin, and that's what's crazy about this rivalry. When I grew up, man, we were afraid of Lufkin. We lost to them 13 times in a row in 11 years, from 2000 to 2007. That was a long time before Longview beat Lufkin. So we grew up with a healthy amount of fear. These kids don't have that fear. Last time Longview lost to Lufkin was in 2016, literally 10 years ago, maybe 11 if you're counting calendar years. You know what I mean? But 2016, the last time Longview lost to Lufkin. These kids, when they get together in green, they don't lose to Lufkin, and that'll be just intriguing in itself. Lufkin bouncing back. They're coming back. It's the 3rd year with their coach now. He's brought positive energy. They've been like 10-2 2 years in a row. And they've always lost to Longview, though. So he's chomping at the bit to try to get Longview, get his first Longview win as a Lufkin head coach. That's something that he's going to try to run out there and do. He's obviously got some talented players coming back on the defense. Sam Smith at corner, Jerian Whitaker on the defensive line. had a strong season. Joshua Bennett from Mount Enterprise is transferred back to Lufkin. He played quarterback and linebacker at Enterprise. I expect to see him at linebacker for Lufkin. I'm ready to see what he looks like on a 5A, 6A team, against a 5A, 6A team, see him make his mark. A lot of noise this offseason about me leaving him out and off of stuff, but I'm like, hey, man, it's only so many people, but it is what it is. I'm anxious to see him play. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of rivalry. There's a lot of history going into this place. A lot of unquestioned things about Longview's defense. Not unquestioned. A lot of question marks about Longview's defense and how they'll look. And like I said, man, I'm not necessarily putting pressure on this offense or anything, but I really think that these guys are going to be as good as they've ever been since 2018. I think this offense has more potential than 2022, which was an outstanding offense with Taylor Tatum and Jalen Hill. So that's this week's show, guys. Keep checking back in. Every week we're gonna come with you every Thursday, talk about the games of the week. Next week is we'll have players of the week and highlights, but keep checking us out. Share, like, subscribe to the page. It's only 99 cents. If you really like what I'm doing, go on and give me a little reward off of it. But if not, just keep liking the pictures, keep loving the stuff off the page, keep tuning in. I'm glad you guys enjoy what I do. I really enjoy putting this kind of stuff on for the kids of East Texas. And of course, you guys watch. So, in the words of Stephen A. Oh, man.